This is the screenshot from the video game The Last of Us that I have been working from, and so far I have modeled the wall lamp and I've also modeled the floor lamp, and there's actually two of them here. And what I plan to do is to create some kind of environment similar to this. And what I want to do right now is I want to work on the TV stand with the TV and the speakers. All right, and for that I have created a reference image. Now this TV is a little smaller than this TV. As I look at this, I realize this one goes a little taller, so we may compensate for that and make it a bit taller, and therefore the speaker is a bit taller as well. But I've got this for you, and you can download it if you want to follow along with me. It is slightly different than this because as I zoom in here, it gets rather blurry, and I haven't been able to see exactly what they've got here, but I've done my best. So we're going to go ahead and model this. So I brought it in, and I've moved it back a little bit on the y-axis, and I've centered it here, and so I'm going to get started and model this with you. Okay, so here we go. All right. I'm going to press Shift A, Mesh Plane, and bring in a plane. I'm going to Edit Mode, and I'm going to scale this in the X. And a little bit hard to see here, I realize that. Now the one thing we're going to have difficulty with is we can't really see how wide this is, so just use your imagination. I'm going to scale this in the Y a little bit. Say, okay, we'll start with that, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to bring this edge up to here and scale it in the X a little bit. And I'm going to press E to extrude and pull it down. And so we'll have the top piece right there. Okay, before we go any further, let's take that and Alt-N, recalculate outside, and let's add a bevel. Make the bevel 3 and 0.01. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do these legs. So I've tried to give you a few different views of this so you get a reasonable sense of that. So let's do this. Let's just come in here, press 3 for face selection, and select that bottom face, and Shift D to duplicate and start scaling it down. Let's press P to break it out and get that piece again. Let's scale in the X and just start getting it into a square. Now we can scale it down some more. I'm going to press Control 7, and I'm going to pull it over to one of these corners. That's the back corner. Let's pull it into here. Just have it under a little bit. And let's see. Let's go ahead and extrude it down, and then we'll get the right size again. Okay, select it all and Shift or scale Shift Z to scale it, but not in the Z. And do that, and then pull it over. Scale Shift Z again, and just try to get it to the right. Now that's the right thickness. Control 7, and then we'll just get the positioning again. Let's try that. Okay, that's not bad. Let's go to wireframe and box select the bottom, pull it down. I'm going to take this and just slide it over ever so slightly. So around there. Okay. Let's go into wireframe again, grab the top, pull it in, and then X faces, get rid of those top faces. It's already going to have the bevel on it because we copied it from there, so I think that's pretty good for what we need. Now my 3D cursor is still there in the middle, so I should be able to take this and mirror this in the X and in the Y to get all the pieces of it. Now I'm thinking maybe this is a little wide. Or deep, so I'm going to take the back. I'm actually going to pull it up a little bit, And then I'm going to take that and Shift S cursor to select it again, bring my 3D cursor back to there so I can take this leg and set the origin to the 3D cursor, and that'll move the mirrored legs. Alright, we'll go with something like that. Alright, so we've got that. Let's go ahead and do this piece down there. Let's just Shift D, duplicate, and pull that down. And have a think about this. I think what I'll do here is I'll take this edge, or that face and that face, and let's scale that in the X to pull it in so it just kind of notches into there. And we'll take this face and this face, and let's scale that in the Y. Maybe we'll have it kind of in the middle of those, like that. While we're here, let's select that and come to the reference image, and here under side, just click front, so if I go to the back, I can see through it. Alright, so we've got that. Let's do these pieces here. Let's take this again, and let's Shift D to duplicate, and let's pull it down a bit. Let's go into edit mode to do this, and let's rotate Y 90. Just pull it over. And it's pretty much the right size. I think we'll go with that. So let's just let's scale this in the Z to get it going, like that. We'll pull it up, and then let's go into wireframe, box select the top, and delete those faces, and we'll delete those faces. We're going to pull this back a little bit. As you can see, it's inside a little bit. So I'm just going to take that face and pull it back a little bit. And in reality, this face didn't go quite to the back. I'm just going to pull it into about there. We're not going to need that face. We're going to get rid of that face. And in fact, in wireframe, I've gotten rid of the other ones. Okay. Let's take that and let's mirror it over. Alright. We're going to do this middle piece here. Maybe I'll do that a little bit there. We'll take one of these. Let's Shift D to duplicate, pull it out, P to break it out, and we'll get rid of the mirror on that. In edit mode, we'll rotate Y 90. And I'm just going to pull it up. I'm going to scale this in the Z, make it a little thinner for the shelf there. Yeah, I have nothing on the front or the side, or on the back and the sides. I'm going to scale this in the X. And I'm going to make this one, I'm going to pull it back a little bit. Okay, I'm going to select these edges and pull them in. And I don't really need it to snap or anything. That's probably fine. Yeah, okay. And this is pretty much the same distance back. That's good. So we have that going on. And let's do this right there. For this, let's bring in a plane. Rotate X 90, drag it over, start scaling it down. I'll scale it a bit smaller, and then I will scale this in the Z. And I'm going to want it pretty even because I'm going to do an inset, and I want it as even as I can. We'll put that there for the moment. And we'll bring it forward. And that's in between, I guess, in between the leg and that. Okay. Let's do that. Let's go into wireframe though. And we'll start with the inset. I to inset, pull it in. It's pretty good actually. You can see it there. So Maybe I'll pull it up ever so slightly. It's almost not worth it. Let's scale in the Z. All right, we'll go with that. Let's see what we'll do. I'm just going to extrude that back a little bit. Not too much. Just like that. Now this one doesn't have the bevel on it, so I'm going to put a bevel on. I'm just going to select something that's not mirrored. Control L, copy modifiers, and that'll put the bevel on it. And I think I will also adjust the corner. Now sometimes I like to make this out of separate pieces and have that cut, but in this case I don't think I will. I'm just going to come down to geometry, miter outer, and switch that to arc. That'll round that. I just find it a little bit more pleasing. Let's try a mirror on this. Let's see how well it fits in. I think it fits in fine. I think it's going to be okay. So in wireframe, maybe we'll go ahead and do the knob. So the 3D cursor is there. I'm going to leave it there, but let's bring in a mesh UV sphere. We'll go for 10 and 10. Scale it down and bring it over. Scale it. It's pretty small. I'm going to rotate X 90 so it faces outwards. I'll bring it out. Let's go back into solid view. Select that, Control plus to expand the selection, X vertices, and then take these E and scale it in and extrude it a little bit. Take that, let's squish it in the Y, SY, flatten it out like that so it seems a little bit like a knob of some sort, a little handle. Let's rotate in the X, RX 180, and push it back. I think I want it to stick out a little further. It'll catch shadows nicer, and it'll seem a little bit more nicer when we try to grab the handle. Let's just look at that, and I think that's probably pretty good. I'll shade smooth, and I'll take that and I'll just mirror it over. So that's okay, I guess. So far we'll save. Let's have a quick look at who's facing the wrong way. Everybody facing the right way. How about that? Everybody is getting along. Now we're going to do that. Now these are going to be mirrored, not like glass, but sort of, it seemed like glass, but it's going to be mirrored and with dirt, and so you're not going to be able to see through them, so you won't know what's in behind them. So my point is, this piece you would think would have to cover the back of this, but it really doesn't. It's only got to fill in this area so you can't see through it, and you're not going to see the back of this either. And so there may be other faces we can get rid of, although I don't really want to get rid of this or this because it's not going to be exactly against the wall. But let's do this. To cover that up, let's just take this and Shift D to duplicate it, pull it up. I'm going to break it out. I will eventually be joining everything again. We are snap to edge, so let's extrude this up here for the moment. Let's take this and hover over this edge and press Control, and it'll snap. And take this and hover over there, and it'll snap. And that will cover that, but I'm not sure. Do I want it to go? I kind of don't want it to be that far in. I was thinking more along the lines of halfway or even a little bit less. It just, I don't know, it just looks a little better to me. It's okay if this stuff extends back that far. It's not really a problem. Now, is this one flipped, though? That's the question. That one is flipped, so for that one, we'll just Alt-N and flip. Okay, so far so good. And I could always move that if I want to. So let's move to this stuff here, and we'll see how that goes. So let's start again with a new plane. Rotate it, scale it a bit, bring it in, and it's pretty good. And we'll put it like that and like that. Let's try that in wireframe. with an inset just to there, so it's not going to be exactly the same as the diagram. Let's bring the whole thing forward. And it'll be roughly in line with the shelves. Now that's not quite big enough. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, but of course these things have to move, so they don't have to be so snug, but, well, they would move in reality. And I do want it under there, so now that I think about it, it's going to be back a little bit. And what I'll do is I'll take this and I'm going to P to break it out. And I'm going to take that piece and I'm going to move it back. And then I'm going to take this this inner edge on this piece and I'm going to extrude that back to give it a little bit of depth like that, and then this piece will come forward a little bit, and I think it would look better actually if the whole thing has some depth. So I'll take that and we can slash key to focus on it. So I'll take that and I'll also extrude that back like that. Okay, like that. And we're going to put a bevel on it. That's not mirrored or anything, so we'll take this and we'll select that, Control L, copy modifiers, and I just want to think about if I want it any bigger. Well, right now what we're going to do is we're going to put on that arc and we're going to mirror this. And what I want is not this. I want to have some room here, so I'm going to select those. I'm going to slide it over a little bit and I'm going to scale it in the X a little bit, slide it over again so that there's a division in between. That looks, I think, okay. Alright, so now we've got this pattern here to do. To do that, I'm going to hide that and I'm going to select an edge here. It's just easier this way. Shift D to duplicate, pull it out, P to break it out. So I've got that. I'll look at the front there and I'm going to take this to here, E to extrude, and I'm going to pull it out like that. Alright, now I'm going to give it some depth, so and it doesn't have to be too deep, just a small thing laying on top of the glass. Let's delete that face and let's take that and slash key to focus on it and come up here. Still got the mirror on it, so that's great. Faces, get rid of that face, and I've got that. And okay, let's see, how do I want to do this? I think I'm just going to copy it, Shift D to duplicate, move it to there. I want to take both of them and scale them in the Z, make sure that they are long enough, and back a little bit. And they really need their own bevel, so I'm going to get rid of that. And before I go any further, I'm going to select those edges, and I'm going to bevel them by hand, just like that. That's a better bevel for me. I also take them and Alt and recalculate outside. There, they were flipped. Okay, back to this. Let's come in. Let's grab one of them and Control L to select what's linked, so I get the whole thing. Shift D, rotate Y 90, and pull it up to here. Scale in the X. So that's fine, and Shift D to duplicate down to there, and we have that. Alt H and we'll bring that piece back, and I just want to have it, I want it quite close to this, so I'm going to take that piece now and I'm going to join it to this one, and I'll have that, and I'm going to take these and I am going to, if I join them, I still get the mirror. Okay, so that's fine, and that has the bevel on it. Alright, we still need to do the sides, and you can see the side has this curve here, and then it's a solid piece of wood in there, so let's do that. Let's Control 3 to look from the side. My 3D cursor is still there. Shift A, mesh, circle, and the more vertices, the smoother you'll get. I'll go with 22 and we'll see what that looks like. Let's rotate Y 90 and let's push it out to here. Control 3 is what I want. 1 for vertex selection. I'm going to box select this bottom stuff and delete that. Let's scale it in a little bit, and let's scale it in the Z. So it's flattened out, but it's still, you know, got some curvature like that. I'm going to scale that in the Z again. I'm just bring it down like that. I'm going to take these 2 points there on the ends, and I'm going to press E and SY, scale them in the Y out like that. Take the whole thing, E to extrude, and pull it up. So I get this. Now let's flatten this. S is at 0. Pull it up to here, and then just look at that and get a sense. In fact, maybe what I'll do is I'll pull it in to here a little bit. I just don't want this too sharp going in, but I think it's going to be okay. So let's keep that and go into edit mode and give it some thickness. A little bit of thickness like this. Recalculate outside, and actually I think I'll bring it back in. I just wanted the thickness in case you ever saw down there. I just want to look at that and think of the sharpness, and whether or not I want to try scaling that in the Y a little bit so that we get a little bit of this flat part there. Now I'm going to bevel that in a minute. On the other hand, do I need that? Let me bring it all the way in, and if it's beveled, you know what? I think that looks better, and I think it's going to be fine. So let's just focus on that, and let's get rid of that face and that face, and then let's select that face, and then press Control. That'll give me the whole row, and get rid of that face. And now we'll come down here and Shift Alt and click that edge. There's no bevel on this, no modifier. Control B and do something like 3 and shade smooth. Let's see what that looks like. That's going to look just fine. And don't worry about the shading at this point. That's there. You don't see any gaps in it. So let's take that and let's mirror that over to the other side. We'll set the origin to the 3D cursor. And we have that. Again, you're not going to see the back, but you might, well, you're going to see it from like this kind of angle. So, okay, now, am I missing anything on there other than the TV? Pretty straightforward, right? Let's, we got all this stuff on. Okay, we'll just leave it like that. And double check this. Everything looks good. I'm actually going to start joining things together. So I'm going to be applying mirrors and joining these pieces. You don't have to, but I just sometimes like to have it all together as one thing. It's still easy enough to work with, and sometimes I end up breaking it apart afterwards. Sometimes I don't, and I just texture it in Substance Painter or something like that as it is. That stuff is mirrored, and I'll join that. Now, do I have everything? Maybe not that piece though. It all has the same bevel on it, so oh my god, oh boy, I still am missing some stuff. Okay, we'll apply that mirror, and now what am I missing? It's those. One object. Go in and M merge by distance. I got rid of 40 vertices. That's nice. And that's what I've got. You'd think maybe, well, I can actually get rid of these bottom ones. And then I guess now is a good time to think about what you can get rid of. I mean, maybe you could get rid of those. I don't know. I'm not going to bother with that. You know, do you want to get rid of these back ones? You want to get rid of this? I'm not going to. The next thing we're going to do is the TV. I'm going to take a piece of this right here, Shift D to duplicate. I think I'm going to stick with mine and not make it larger than what I've got in the diagram, so I don't want to throw you off, and I don't think that there's any need to do that. So I'm just going to pull that up, go to wireframe, and grab this edge here, and we'll get, okay, so this one here, I'm going to break out, P to break it out, so I can just work on that. Where is it? There we go. Scaling the X a little bit. Okay, so we've got that. So let's now, I don't need to be there, let's extrude back a little bit. Let's see if you can see anything here. Comes which one? Not much to see. Comes back a little bit. Okay, take my word for it. And you've all seen flat screen TVs anyhow. I'm going to bring it back a little bit, and then I'm going to bring it back a little bit more, maybe even twice or so that distance, and I'm going to press S to scale. And that's all I'm going to do for that. And then I'm going to, in face selection, I'm going to grab that face. It's got the bevel on it because I copied it from that piece, so that's good. In wireframe, I'm going to press, it's a little confusing, isn't it? I'm going to press I to inset, and I'm going to come into there. This whitish area is the border of the screen. And then in edge selection, I'm going to grab that edge, and I'm going to pull it up to there. And that's that. And now I'm going to take this, and I'm going to extrude it in, but not much. Just a little bit. Just like that. And I've already got the roundedness there, and that is fine for what I'm doing for that screen. Maybe the TV will come up further forward, I don't know. Let's make the base out of this as well. Shift D to duplicate, scale, P to break it out. I just scaled globally, and that might be a good way of doing it. Let's go to wireframe, and there it is. Scale it again, and how about we bring it down to about the surface, and then we just extrude up. And we have that, although it may be flipped, so let's, okay, and down to there. We can get rid of the bottom face. In fact, let's do that. Let's just bring it up and get rid of that face, take the whole thing and push it down. I might bring that up ever so slightly. And then the other thing I have is this is just a cube, and so what I'll do is I'll just borrow this and scale it down. I just duplicated it, and we'll scale it to about that size. But how wide is it? That's about the width I want anyhow. I'm going to extrude it down, and I'm going to get rid of that bottom face, and then I'm going to take this face and bring it up, and then we'll see. I'm going to bring it up about to the level of the TV and delete it, but we're going to move some stuff here. Let's grab both of these and move them back, actually. And I think this thing actually is wider than I wanted, or deeper, so I'm going to scale it in the Y. And again, until it fits underneath here. Scale it in the Y. It's probably okay. Doesn't have to be exactly in the middle of this. Whether or not that would hold, I'm going to take this piece and Control J, and I'm actually going to join it to the TV as well. And then at this point, you can't really see where the TV is. You could bring it forward or back. I'll just bring it a little forward. Anything flipped? The TV. Okay, recalculate outside. Let's, I should be, that's not true. I'm actually going to, I'm going to join that to there. So I just have one piece, and yeah. So let's do this, and that is our TV stand and TV. As one piece. And again, like I say, I may break it out later to texture it, or I may do it all the same as one piece. I was just looking at this and wondering if I wanted it to make this around, you know, like I wondered if I wanted to come in here, and although I don't want it to be too modern or anything, but I'm just going to try this for a second here. So I'm going to shade smooth, and I'm going to add on top of the whole model weighted normal, normal's auto smooth. Yeah, I'm going to leave it like that. Okay, whatever. All right, to do these speakers here, let's do this. Let's bring in a plane. Slide it over. Rotate X90 and scale. We're going to do the cabinet part of it first, if that's the correct terminology. So put that there, and I'll take this piece, and I'll bring it to the top. So it's just a plane, and I'll give it some depth. I don't exactly know how much, so we're just going to do what sort of feels right. Like, like maybe that. Alt-N, recalculate outside, and I'll select that face, and in wireframe, I'm going to inset, I'd inset, hold shift if you want to move a bit slower, pull it in till you feel you've got that inner part there. Let's go look at it in solid view. And I'm going to extrude back a little ways. It doesn't have to go back far. I'll just do that, and I'm going to get rid of that face. We're not going to need it. And I think I'm going to bevel this by hand. Shift Alt and click these edges. And just zoom in and Control B, and 3 or 5 is fine. 3 is probably fine, like that. Not too much. And then those two edges as well. Control B. A little bit of a bevel, and the back a little bit of a bevel, maybe a bit more than the other parts. So there's the main part of the cabinet. I certainly could bring in one plane and do a Boolean, but then I'm going to have pieces all over the place, and in the past I would have just done it that way, and it's probably fine, but I'm going to do it another way. I'm going to show you. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually come in here and select part of my cabinet. Alright, so to do this, I'm going to actually build the hole first. And my 3D cursor is right there, so I'm going to bring in a circle. And I'll leave it at 22 vertices. I mean, you could do it at 16, but you get these really rough holes. So the higher the better, kind of. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to rotate X 90. And I'm going to pull it down to one of the larger ones here. I can adjust the size of this in a bit. So I'm going to press E and S and come out, and let's do this in solid view. And let's take this piece actually and pull it out. So this is what I have so far. I want to be in solid view. And I'm going to work on this. In fact, it's easier if I just slash key to work on this. Now, so I've got my circle. I'm going to select. Now there's no central one right here, which would be a little easier if you did a different number of vertices, but this should be just fine. I'm going to select all these top half ones. I'm going to press E to extrude, and I'm going to pull them up straight, and SZ0 to flatten it. Then I'm going to take all of these ones, the remaining ones, and I'm going to press E to extrude, and I'm going to pull down. I missed some, or I missed one. E to extrude, pull down, scale Z0. Then in edge selection, I'm going to Shift Alt to click this edge and this edge, E, S, X, and pull out. And now I've got a flat piece with a circle in it. Okay, now I want to be in wireframe, and I'm going to scale this up just a little bit, and it's actually going to fit all right. It's fitting into my spot there. Let's take this and actually push it back in a little bit. Now let's take this and array this in the Z by 1 and 0 this out. We can click on merge too. We'll probably have to merge them ourselves. And let's just look and see how well it lines up. Let's I think there's 5 of these, and then we may need to manipulate this a little bit. Okay. I'm going to hit S to scale, and I'm just scaling it and move it a little bit. And it's inside still. I think we're okay. Now at this point, they're not going to be all the same size, but for the moment they will be. I'm going to take this edge and extrude it in. And I'm going to also, let's take this Alt-N, recalculate outside. Let's take this edge and bevel it. Just with 3, that's all right. And we'll shade smooth. And we'll get that. And that's not going to stay like that. All right, let's add weighted normal and horizontal smooth. We'll actually be applying this array. Okay. I'm going to apply the array. And now I can come in here. And it's a little bit off. I want these ones big. I'm going to have that one big. Maybe I'll just have the 2 top ones as like tweeters, or maybe, I don't know. Maybe the top, maybe the mid one will be a mid-range one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, I'm going to select that edge, Control plus, to about there. I'm not going to go out to the outer one. And I could use the diagram or not. The white line is where that bevel is. So I'm going to scale shift Y, not in the Y. I'm going to pull it into about there, make it nice and small. All right, so that's going to be a small hole. And you can see I've got that one small as well, because in reality, if you look at these, it's like two big ones, medium, or a smaller than this one, and then a big one, and then so it's kind of crazy. So we'll do this. We'll do it like the diagram, like the reference. Control plus out to there, and I'll. Oh, I got that one selected still. Let's do that again. Not that one. Control minus. And I'm going to scale shift Y. I'll come in like that. So this one maybe I'll make even a little smaller. Okay, just to accentuate it. I'll come to there. Scale shift Y. So yeah, we have some different sizes. And to make the speaker itself, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select that edge, Shift D to duplicate. I'm going to pull the whole thing out, P to break it out. I'm going to take this and I'm going to E and S. I'm going to come in and I'm going to pull it back a little bit like that. Come in a little bit more. And I think at this point I'm going to extrude out a little bit, not too much. F to make a face. I'm going to bevel this back. I'll put another edge there. I'll bring an edge down in here, and that probably could do as the speaker, because I'm going to pull it in until it's there. I may have to scale it up a little bit and just fit it underneath there. Now I think this might be flipped. Let's try that, and let's just have a quick look here. That's the inside, so I got that. That's my speaker. So let's take this now and just duplicate it up. I'll do it in edit mode, and I'll just by eye, I'm just going to slide that into there. Okay, I'll slide it up to here, and then we'll just take this one and scale it like that. That's probably fine. Let's bring this one right to the top, because we can just make it small, even smaller than that. Maybe a bit bigger. And then we'll just bring it down here and scale it. And that's what we have. All right, so this has got that on it and that. So I'm going to join those together, and that thing, I'm going to join those together. I'll come in here and I will merge by distance. I got one vertex, and yep, everything looks good. And the height is that. All right, now, am I going to break with what I just said? Well, I'm going to take the top of this and I'm going to pull it up, and we're going to see if I like it better. It looks like it's almost like twice the height is almost twice the width of that, or one and a half. Nah, I'm just making up numbers. I wasn't going to do it, but now I'm thinking. And the speaker looks good. Let's get rid of that. I don't need that anymore, I don't think. Let's take this and get something central like the top. Bring the 3D cursor there. And set the origin to the 3D cursor. Let's just mirror that to the other side just to be. Let's pull this up to here. All right. That's what we get. Now, in terms of statistics, 12,000 for everything. All right, not too bad. Probably could get rid of a little bit more. You decide about the backs of things, but you know, just in case you ever, well, you never see the back, but such is life. So that's what we have. There's our little stereo system. A little bit different than this. I didn't put this piece on. I was having some difficulty understanding how these things could open with that there, unless it's a little bit lower, but you know, then it looks like it's on the inside here, and it looks like it's on the outside there. So I said, you know what, screw it, I'm not going to have that at all. We'll just leave it like that. So I will bring this model into a little scene with the wall lamp, with the floor lamp, and we're also going to do a couple of pictures on the wall, sort of like I had said in my vlog, a long vertical one, and this one, one or two lamps. I'm not going to do this couch. I think I'm just going to do the back of this one. All right, so we'll do something like that and have a little section of the room. I won't do the whole thing. All right, so more coming up next time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.